President Trump just kicked them out of the country, Americans are cheering. When Barack Hussein Obama began bowing to Middle East dictators and kowtowing to South American murderous regimes, he began a series of dramatic changes toward the U.S.'s foreign policy that would prove to haunt him even after he left office. There has never been a more appeasement-oriented president toward dictatorial camarillas and brutal regimes than Obama, and that shames both him and the United States. Having a president in office now who not only puts to bed that notion that we will negotiate with terrorists, pay ransom to brutal and radical medieval age Islamic governments, and look the other way whenever our red lines in the sand are overstepped has helped to restore so much of the confidence of the American people that had dissolved over the last 8 years. Now we are back on track to be a leader in the world order once more. Recently, Donald Trump has been making overtures to the public that he will not abide by the milquetoast policies of the Obama administration toward communist countries and, in particular, Cuba. The Castros had long ago destroyed any chance of an amicable resolution to our differences, and Trump was sure that this feigned interest in joining the rest of the world in harmony and goodwill was merely a ruse. He ordered all 15 Cuban diplomats to depart the United States within 1 week. The Trump administration continued severing diplomatic relations with Cuba when it told 15 diplomats to leave Cuba's embassy in Washington, D.C., within a week. According to Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, Cuba failed to take appropriate steps following alleged attacks on American personnel in the Caribbean country. The U.S. Department of State is investigating the attacks, which allegedly harmed the health of 22 American diplomats, and chose to maintain equitable staffing levels in U.S. and Cuban embassies during the investigation, Reuters reported. Until the government of Cuba can ensure the safety of our diplomats in Cuba, our embassy will be reduced to emergency personnel to minimize the number of diplomats at risk of exposure to harm, Tillerson reportedly said. The Secretary of State clarified that he intended to maintain diplomatic relations with Cuba, even amid the seemingly tense investigation. The decision came as the U.S. told citizens not to visit Cuba and after it removed more than half of its staff from the Cuban capital of Havana. The mysterious attacks on embassy personnel reportedly caused dizziness, hearing loss, and fatigue. Although not much has been said about this, one of the biggest failings of the Obama administration, and the president himself, was the ability to recognize when a decision he unilaterally made rubbed Americans the wrong way. He was completely blind to the fact that these actions might affect the upcoming candidate for the Democrat Party. Now that it's clear that Hillary's clinging to the Obama legacies was a very large part of the reasons for her rejection by Americans, it should come as no surprise that a man like Donald Trump, who does what he says, and follows through on his promises, will end up setting up the Republican Party for a long string of victories, despite efforts by the establishment GOPs to block his agenda.